Hey everyone, UC here from iTradePrice. It is June 5th and a little before 11 a.m. Eastern. Thought of making a video for our weekly recap. Actually not a recap, but just kind of going through some of the charts that we follow and trade, okay? So QQQ, monthly view. I always like to take a little bit of a view and see what's going on at a higher price level, right? So we did see a previous monthly bar kind of close back up towards where the breakdown started from right here, correct? And then now this month of June, when we started, we tried to go back up a little bit, but since then we just kind of got back weak, and this thing just kind of started going down a little bit. Now if moving back to, let's say, a weekly view, so after this still a down channel, right, it bounced from the low end of its bottom channel right here of this higher time frame channel. So this was the 2 weeks ago we had this big bullish week, right, after a while, and then we sort of, I would say, closed towards the higher end of that bullish week, but still a little weak, right? Because I think it's just the first time it's trying to attempt a move back above 315, so you'd expect some sort of resistance here. It's not bad looking. Yes, from technical perspective, it is a higher high and a higher low. The first one on a weekly time frame. So I think the daily would show us a better picture here of what's going on. Where's the resistance, right? So this was the structure, right, that we were trading. Then we got back above that, and now this is the structure that we're trading in, right? We had this bullish momentum that broke out above 302.3. We saw 2 days of sideways movement and then sort of a bullish engulfing day, which failed to see a follow through above 315.1 because that's where we broke down from, right? We had all this structure above that, and once we broke down, that's where the sort of the bearish move started from, and we are now trying back above that. So it will, of course, take some time, or maybe a couple of tries before we can see move above that. Once above that, 330 is definitely the structure target above that, which where the price can kind of lead towards, right? But if we break down below 302.3, that would be again weakness and bearish for this current move that we saw on the upside. Okay, here's the chart of Apple in a weekly view. We have this again similar to QQQ. We had this bullish week, and then we failed to see an upside follow through. Still under pressure, I would say, as long as it's below this downtrend line in a weekly time frame. Moving on to a daily view, so we failed to see an upside follow through above 150 in this name, right? We had this two bullish bars on a daily basis past week, but we couldn't really see a move above 150 that would have taken us towards 157 target, because that's where we have the price where it started breaking down from all the way down like this, right? So as long as it's above 144.5 or 144.4, it's not bad. I mean, you can still form this sort of uptrend line. Let's say if you go to maybe an hourly view, you can see it's still holding that uptrend line. If you were to draw using these two bottom points, if you were to draw it like that, we're still kind of up above that. If only once we break down below that, we can target the lower structure support levels. But if we see a bounce, definitely 151.8 is a decent upside target, and then see if we can get back above this downtrend line in this name. Okay, here's the chart of Amazon monthly time frame. You can see we had this big monthly breakdown, right? And then we had a good, nice follow through to the downside, which took the price back towards 2035. That's where we had all this upside moves that started few years ago, right? So we're kind of towards that low end. We tested that, moved back up, still holding this uptrend line. If in a higher time frame, if I zoom out, this is sort of the long-term uptrend line. So not a bad place for people who like to average down on these big moves down for a longer-term hold. So not a bad place to kind of establish some position from that perspective. But on a monthly basis here, we're back where this whole 3 monthly bars kind of coincide, sort of overlap right now. So let's see into weekly time frame. It just showed 3 weeks worth of consolidation here. So that's a good sign, which tells you that there is some good support level around 2035 that bulls can reference for any move down. But since we moved above 2316, right, which was the sort of the top range for the past 3 weeks, we closed above that for the very first time in the past month or so. Now let's see if we can get a closure back above 2500 in a daily time frame and target to get back above 2525, because in a weekly time frame that level in a daily time frame, let me go to daily right there, you can see if you have a couple of, actually more than a couple of touch points there, that's sort of if I take this view, right, that's where we broke down from, made a bottom and made a double bottom, got back up. 2316 provided resistance. As you can see, we have this this price level. Once we got above that, now that's where we are kind of consolidating right below this 2525, right? So if we can, as long as we can this was an inside day on Friday, so which is not bearish by itself, right? So that means still the momentum is on the upside. We still have to maintain this 2388 on a lower time frame and then 2316 to remain overall bullish, right? And try to see if we can get back above this earnings reaction high, which is something like 2600 plus, something like that. And then we have this big gap fill on the upside. So lots of work to do, but first is 2525 and 2316 on a larger time frame that you can kind of look to for the price to kind of trade in. On a lower time frame, hourly view, yeah, I mean, it looks nice, still consolidating as long as it's above 2388 on a lower time frame. Yeah, it's sort of making this bear flag-ish kind of a pattern here, but we'll see if it gets any follow through Monday morning to the downside. And if it does, 2388 would be initial target, and then we can see if it wants to go back up or if it breaks down further towards this 2316 level. Okay, all right. Okay, here's the chart of Tesla, a monthly view, right? A little bearish, definitely, because we had this monthly breakdown bar, big bearish trend bar, good follow through to the downside, and now this monthly bar started right here below the body of this previous monthly bar, tried to get back up, couldn't do it, and now we're starting with this move towards the downside, and it's close towards the weaker side of this previous week. So the structure low on a monthly level is the 2 points are 620 and 542 if you want to round it up. So those are the 2 targets on the downside if it keeps on going like this, the way it looks like it wants to go. So on a weekly time frame, right, this was the bullish week does not see any upside follow through. That has been sort of the concerning for the bullish scenario to play out. This was the bullish scenario, no bullish follow through, right? This was one, no bullish follow through, and we saw this pretty bullish week, bullish piercing if you combine these 2 candles together, because this one closed right towards the upper end of the previous week's range, and then we saw absolutely no follow through to the upside. In fact, it closed weak. So that tells you people are still seeing any upside as a chance to get out of this name. So I mean, that's what it looks like or feels like, right? I mean, it's you will trade what the chart tells you, not what we think. So on a daily time frame, we had a couple of days, nice days. So this was a bullish engulfing sort of a pattern, right? If we wanted to see some momentum coming back, this was the chance, right? And we blew it. It couldn't do it. So that tells you it is still weak. If we had done that, then 846 would have been the target on the upside, because that's where we have the structure low, and then it should become the resistance or sort of a magnet for the price to move towards. But we'll see what happens on Monday. If it wants to kind of, pause or keeps going down or what, but definitely below 700 is weak, further weakness. Then we have 620, and then, monitor for continued weakness. Or if it wants to go back up, the first sign will have to be making a higher high and a sort of rejection of this move down, right? So, but in a lower time frame, let's say 30-minute view, and if I bring back the levels, let's say this one, right? So we had this flag, right, that we traded, and we traded this breakout above, but it did not see any breakout above that, right? So this was the flag, right? This was the flag right here. We saw a breakout, couldn't really do it, gap down, and then since then it just sold off, and it closed even below the low end of this bullish flag. So it still looks weak. Maybe it wants to go and retest this downtrend line that it broke out of right here. So maybe it wants to do that, which would coincide nicely with the 642 number. So yeah, I mean, looks under pressure. Tesla, yeah, no excitement right now for bulls. Okay, Nvidia, weekly view, bouncing from its long-term resistance turned support, right? This was the resistance. It became support, and since it saw a big move to the upside, like around COVID times when it all started, and now we came back down to that level, tested it for the 3 weeks, held that level, 156 level, and then eventually made a move above 181, right? So now, as long as it's holding above 181, we can target 204, because that's sort of the structure high that we have, because it was support and now it became resistance. So 204, a good number to target on the upside, as long as it's above 181, right? If we just evaluate the price structure the way it has been, this weekly chart, right? You can see we had this bullish engulfing week after it tried to break down further, couldn't do it, and still a higher high and a higher low in the previous week number. And it's a doji bar, it's a pause bar, it's nothing, it's not bearish at all, right? From that perspective. And let's move on to the daily view for Nvidia. Not bad, right? Inside day, Friday, it held 181, above that actually. So now the next move higher should take it to 204, because that's where the structure high is. But I would look for 181 to hold. Anything below 181, it loses its upside momentum. So right now, more bullish bars. Downside is not seeing any follow through to the bearish side. So that keeps the momentum or probability for the price to go back up on a higher side. Okay, here's a chart of SQ weekly view, kind of range bound, tight, and I think it can definitely kind of break out to the upside, because the way it's holding, the bearish bars are not seeing any follow through to the downside, and it's just making higher highs in a weekly time frame and higher lows. So not higher highs, but higher lows. So which is a good sign for bulls. I mean, if I get into let's say a 4-hourly view for this name, right? This is the sort of the channel that it's trading in. So as long as it's above this channel, right, like this one, right, and it breaks above this downtrend line, intraday downtrend line, then definitely 94, and then it can easily go back up towards the higher end of this channel. But if it's break down, right, if it breaks down this, let's say this mini uptrend line and gets back under 80, then 74 is sort of the line of defense for bulls. And if it breaks down further, then definitely that kind of just is a continuation of the bearish move that that was going on. But if it does not and it holds, market supports, break this intraday downtrend line, we can easily see good move or good tradable move in this name, right? Because even on the daily time frame, the bearish bars are just not seeing that downside follow through. We have more bullish bars. I would like to see some follow through to the upside, but it really has to break this range and this this sort of downtrend line for a move back up towards 94. I mean, it could be making this ascending triangle sort of a pattern here, right, with higher lows. And once it breaks above this 90 level and then 94, then we can definitely see a push higher in this name as shorts look to cover. But yeah, I think it's a good tradable setup to keep an eye on. All right, guys. So these was, some of the charts that we actively follow and trade here. If you have any special requests other than that, or if you want to know the levels, please reach out, let us know, or let Annie know. We're always happy to help and talk charts. Thank you, and have a good rest of your weekend.